chosen ones. This message isn't a coincidence. It's divine timing. If you're hearing these words right now, understand that something greater has guided you here. Have you ever felt an inner force, a sacred spark, that refuses to die no matter how dark life becomes? That unstoppable light within you is the same divine essence that once moved through Jesus himself. Not that you are him, but that you carry a reflection of his energy, a living continuation of that same divine frequency that heals, uplifts, and transforms. Long ago, a humble carpenter from Nazareth walked among the weary and broken. His purpose wasn't fame, but transformation. He spoke of love in a world addicted to hate, of forgiveness in a time of revenge. He was misunderstood, betrayed, mocked, and crucified. Yet through pain, he revealed peace. Through death, he revealed eternal life. Every act of suffering became a doorway to divine revelation. This same story echoes in your life. The betrayals you've endured, the losses that cut deep, the nights you thought you wouldn't make it through, none of them were punishments. They were sacred initiations designed to awaken the divinity buried within your soul. Science tells us that everything in existence vibrates: atoms, light, sound, even thought itself. Spiritual energy is no different. The divine operates through vibration, through frequency. When Jesus healed the sick, he elevated their vibration to match the divine pattern of wholeness. When you forgive, when you love against all odds, you're doing the same. You're aligning your energy with God's own frequency. This isn't superstition. Even modern neuroscience shows that gratitude and compassion literally rewire the brain, creating patterns of peace, resilience, and divine alignment. Saint Athanasius once said, "God became man so that man might become divine." That statement wasn't poetic, it was prophetic. You are not an ordinary being trying to reach God. You are divine essence remembering itself through human form. Every challenge you overcome, every time you choose light over darkness, you become living proof that divine power still moves through flesh. You embody the continuation of Christ's light on earth. So, stay with me until the end, because what follows are 7 powerful signs that reveal you carry the same sacred energy that once walked the earth in Jesus. When this truth sinks deep into your soul, fear dissolves, purpose ignites, and faith ceases to be something you practice. It becomes who you are. So sit back, spirit warrior. This is your divine reminder of who you've always been. Point 1. You carry divine compassion. Jesus didn't love selectively. He was love. That's the kind of love that didn't stop to check someone's past before offering grace, didn't filter kindness through social status, and didn't withhold compassion because someone didn't deserve it. His love wasn't a feeling, it was his being. He didn't love because it was easy. He loved because it was divine. And chosen one, you carry that same kind of heart. You weren't built for half-hearted affection or conditional empathy. You were designed to love in a way that reflects heaven itself. Raw, healing, and unconditional. That's why you feel things more deeply than most. When others can walk past suffering without blinking, you feel it. Sometimes as if it's happening to you. That's not oversensitivity, that's spiritual sensitivity. Science might call it high emotional intelligence or heightened empathy. But in the spiritual realm, it's a calling. Your compassion is evidence of your higher assignment. You were born with the ability to sense pain that's not even your own. Not so you could drown in it, but so you could transform it. That's what makes you a vessel of divine love on earth. You see, when Jesus moved through villages, he didn't announce his love. People felt it. His presence alone shifted atmospheres, restored peace, and awakened hope. That same invisible yet powerful energy flows through you, chosen one. You don't have to quote scripture or speak in tongues for people to feel your spirit. Your quiet smile, your listening ear, your ability to forgive when no one else would, that's ministry in motion. You preach through your energy, not your ego. And whether you realize it or not, people find healing just by being near you. It's not an easy path, that kind of love. Comes with scars. You've been misunderstood, taken advantage of, and sometimes left wondering if you're too soft for this world. But here's the truth. Your kindness isn't weakness. It's divine resilience. Even psychology backs this up. Compassionate individuals tend to have stronger emotional regulation and resilience. They feel pain, but they don't stay stuck in it. They process, they forgive, and they grow. That's spiritual strength disguised as gentleness. When the world tells you to toughen up, God whispers, stay soft, because your softness is sacred. You're not here to fit into the hardness of the world. You're here to remind the world what divine love feels like. In a society obsessed with power and image, your quiet empathy exposes what's missing, heart. That's why people are drawn to you, even those who mistreat you. Your spirit reminds their soul of something ancient, something pure, something holy. Your empathy is your ministry, chosen one. You may never stand behind a pulpit, but your life is the sermon. Every time you choose love over revenge, compassion over judgment, and forgiveness over pride, you are doing God's work. You are demonstrating what real strength looks like. The world measures strength by dominance, but heaven measures it by how much you can love without losing yourself. So don't curse your sensitivity, it's your superpower. Don't regret your compassion, it's your calling. And don't let pain harden your heart. You were born to reflect the unconditional love of Christ, not in words, but in being. People may never understand how deeply you care or how much it costs you to stay kind, but God sees it all. He planted that divine love within you to be a living example that light still exists in a dark world. You're not here to fit in, chosen one. You're here to heal it, one silent act of love at a time. Point 2, you've been betrayed by those you loved most. Chosen one, betrayal was never meant to destroy you. It was the sacred fire that purified you. Just like Jesus was betrayed by Judas, your story too has carried the sting of false loyalty, the knife in the back that came from a hand you once held in trust. You see, betrayal is not the end of your story. It's the divine catalyst that awakens your purpose. It's God's mysterious way of removing those who cannot travel with you to the next chapter. Every time someone betrayed you, it wasn't just a random act of cruelty. It was a spiritual transaction that elevated you from where you were to where you were meant to be. Think about it. Judas's betrayal wasn't just a tragedy. It was the initiation of destiny. Without Judas, there would have been no crucifixion. Without the crucifixion, there would have been no resurrection. And without resurrection, there would be no salvation. In the same divine pattern, your betrayal moments were not punishments. They were promotions in disguise. God allowed certain people to turn against you because their loyalty was limited to your old identity. They loved who you were, not who you were becoming. So, the moment your light began to shift, they couldn't handle it. And instead of growing with you, they turned on you. But here's the secret. That rejection was redirection. Science even mirrors this truth in its own language. When a star collapses in space, it doesn't die. It transforms into something even more powerful, a supernova. The collapse releases an explosion of energy that creates new galaxies and planets. Similarly, when your trust collapsed, when your relationships exploded, God was creating a new universe inside you, a higher consciousness, a new awareness, a rebirth. Betrayal became your spiritual supernova, forcing you to expand beyond what you thought you could endure. And let's get real. Betrayal hurts. It breaks the heart, it confuses the mind, and it shakes the spirit. But have you noticed that after every betrayal, your discernment became sharper, you stopped entertaining shallow conversations, you became more private, more observant, and more tuned to people's energy than their words? That's because betrayal activates spiritual vision. It strips away illusion. You start seeing who's with you and who's merely using you. That's not paranoia, that's divine clarity. There's also a psychological truth here. Studies show that emotional pain, when processed correctly, increases empathy and self-awareness. The brain literally rewires itself to become stronger. That means, chosen one, your heartbreaks were not wasted. They were neural upgrades. Every person who betrayed you unknowingly helped build your spiritual muscle. They thought they were burying you, but they were actually planting you, and now you're growing in places they'll never reach. Look at history. Every great soul experienced betrayal. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers before he became a ruler. David was hunted by Saul before he became king. Even Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi faced betrayal from people within their own circles. The pattern never fails. Betrayal precedes revelation. God uses pain as a megaphone to awaken purpose. So instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" start asking, "What is God birthing through this?" Because something is being born. That heartbreak, that abandonment, that sudden isolation, it was the universe's way of pushing you into your assignment. You were never meant to stay where you were comfortable. Chosen one, God allowed those betrayals not to tear you apart, but to set you apart. The moment you stop trying to prove your innocence, defend your character, or chase people who misjudged you, you stepped into divine authority. You stopped being reactive and became revelatory. Betrayal was the storm that revealed your wings. So, lift your head, chosen soul. The very people who betrayed you only confirmed your calling. Without their exit, you would have never discovered your elevation. God didn't remove them to punish you. He removed them to position you. The betrayal was never rejection, it was redirection. And now you stand exactly where you were always meant to be, not broken, but reborn. Point 3, you walk alone, but never lonely. Remember how Jesus often retreated into the mountains to pray alone? That wasn't a random act of isolation. It was divine strategy. He wasn't running away from people, he was reconnecting to his source. And that, chosen one, is exactly what your spirit has been wired to do. You crave solitude, not because you're antisocial, not because you dislike company, but because deep within, your soul understands that peace isn't found in the noise of the crowd. It's found in the whisper of God. See, when Jesus disappeared into the wilderness, the disciples probably wondered why. But every time he came back, he carried power, healing, wisdom, and calm authority. He returned not empty, but overflowing. And that's you too. Every time you withdraw, the world misunderstands it. They think you're avoiding them, but in truth, you're entering sacred communication. In your silence, God speaks. In your stillness, he downloads instructions that can't be heard amidst the chaos of life. There's a divine science to solitude. Psychologists today call it cognitive restoration. It's the process where your brain resets, your nervous system calms, and your creativity expands. But spiritually, it's more than just a reset. It's realignment. When you unplug from the constant chatter of the world, you plug back into divine frequency. Studies have shown that time spent in solitude increases emotional clarity, intuition, and resilience. But for the chosen ones, solitude isn't just healing, it's preparation. Think about Moses, 40 days on Mount Sinai, Elijah alone in the wilderness. Even Buddha meditated under the Bodhi tree in silence until enlightenment came. It's a universal pattern. Revelation is birthed in solitude. The chosen must be separated before they can be sent. You can't carry divine wisdom if you're constantly surrounded by noise that drowns out your intuition. God often hides his prophets in plain sight, not to punish them, but to protect their frequency. When others panic in isolation, you blossom in it. While the world clings to distractions to fill their emptiness, you turn that emptiness into a sacred space. Your mind becomes a temple, your thoughts become prayers, and your solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's where your spiritual strength grows roots. You start to see things clearer, patterns, energy, truth, because there's no distortion. What looks like loneliness to others is your divine classroom. And let's be honest, being a chosen one can feel heavy sometimes. You sense more, you think deeper, and you carry emotions that don't even belong to you. So when your spirit suddenly pulls you away from everyone, honor that call. That's not depression, that's discernment. You're not withdrawing, you're upgrading. You're allowing your soul to detox from the world's illusions so you can return with vision. God hides his most powerful warriors in stillness before their breakthrough. Every mountain moment has a mission behind it. When you emerge from solitude, you don't come out the same. There's a glow, a knowing, a divine authority that can't be faked. People may not understand your need for peace, but they'll feel your power after it. So, chosen. 1, don't apologize for craving solitude. Don't let the world guilt you for protecting your energy. You are walking the same sacred path, walked by divine messengers throughout time. When others fear silence, you embrace it. When they run from the void, you meet God in it. Because that's where transformation happens, not in the noise, but in the quiet. The mountain isn't your escape. It's your meeting place with destiny. And every time you climb it in spirit, through prayer, reflection, or silence, you're not withdrawing from life. You're preparing to return to it with divine power, just like Jesus did. Point 4, you turn pain into power. Everything that tried to destroy you, depression, heartbreak, abandonment, became the very soil your strength grew from. That's the paradox of the chosen one's journey. The things that were meant to break you were actually your spiritual training ground, your initiation into divine resilience. Every sleepless night, every betrayal, every silent breakdown behind closed doors, none of it was wasted. You weren't being buried, you were being planted. And just like a seed, your growth required darkness before the light. When the world left you for dead, when you felt like your story was over, heaven was quietly writing a resurrection. You don't stay in the tomb, you resurrect. Just like Christ, your pain was never meant to be the end of your story. It was the beginning of your transformation. The tomb wasn't a symbol of death. It was the womb of rebirth. Spiritually speaking, every time you rise from your lowest moment, you are mirroring the divine blueprint of resurrection energy, that unstoppable force that turns defeat into divine purpose. See, depression isn't just sadness. It's the soul's silent scream for renewal. Heartbreak isn't just loss. It's God tearing away what was never meant to contain your light. Abandonment isn't rejection. It's redirection toward the divine companionship that never leaves you. Each of these experiences carries sacred data, spiritual codes designed to awaken you to who you really are beneath all the illusions. Modern psychology now acknowledges that post-traumatic growth is real. People who endure deep suffering often develop higher empathy, stronger emotional intelligence, and a clearer sense of purpose afterward. But what science calls post-traumatic growth, the spirit calls rebirth. Each fall is a lesson. You've learned that your value doesn't vanish when people walk away. You've discovered that your peace can't be stolen. It can only be surrendered. You've realized that your faith, once tested, doesn't weaken, it deepens. Each tear you've cried was a baptism, washing away the versions of you that no longer served your higher calling. Water, after all, is both gentle and powerful. It cleanses and renews. Spiritually, tears are sacred, the body's way of releasing pain, while the soul releases resistance. And the storms, they weren't punishment, they were refinement. Just as gold is purified by fire, your soul was being shaped by divine heat. Every storm you endured stripped away attachments that dulled your light, forcing you to remember your true essence, pure spirit, eternal, untouchable. The world calls it survival, but heaven calls it sanctification. You were never meant to remain broken. You were meant to evolve through your brokenness into something divine. That's what makes you a living reflection of Christ. Not perfection, but rebirth. Perfection is static, lifeless, unattainable. Rebirth, however, is dynamic, continuous, real. It means you keep rising no matter how many times life buries you in despair. You carry resurrection energy in your DNA. Every time you forgive someone who hurt you, every time you choose peace instead of revenge, every time you smile through pain, you're embodying the living Christ within. The truth is, the chosen ones aren't known for avoiding suffering, they're known for transforming it. You carry an ancient resilience that confuses darkness, because no matter how many times it tries to snuff out your flame, you return brighter. You're not just surviving, you're being reborn, again and again. So don't curse your past, bless it, because the soil that once felt like your grave became your garden. The pain that once silenced you became your testimony. You are not the wounds you carry. You are the wisdom they birthed. And that, dear soul, is the sacred mystery of the chosen ones. The divine ability to turn every ending into a resurrection story. Point 5, you speak truth that disturbs the darkness. Jesus didn't sugarcoat reality, and neither do you. You were never meant to blend in with the masses or silence your voice to make others feel at ease. Like Jesus, you speak truth even when it trembles through your lips, even when it costs you peace in the moment. You were built for higher conversations, divine confrontations, and spiritual awakenings that shake the ground under falsehood. Your words aren't random, they're divinely charged. Every time you speak, energy shifts, environments react, spirits recognize what you carry. And make no mistake, the darkness doesn't just dislike light, it hates exposure. That's why sometimes people get uncomfortable around you without even knowing why. It's not your tone, not your style, not your attitude, it's your frequency. You vibrate truth in a world addicted to illusions. Think about it. Even Jesus faced resistance, not because he was wrong, but because He revealed too much right. He challenged the status quo, confronted hypocrisy, and dismantled entire belief systems just by being. When he said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free," it wasn't poetic fluff. It was spiritual warfare. Freedom always threatens control, and truth always exposes manipulation. So when you speak truth, even gently, the spiritually blind feel it like sunlight in their closed eyes. It burns, it stings, it reveals. And in that moment, they either wake up or turn away. You, chosen one, carry that same spiritual DNA. You weren't chosen to entertain, you were chosen to enlighten. The light in you is not supposed to make everyone clap. It's supposed to make some people question themselves. You see through pretenses. You pick up on hidden motives. You sense when words and energy don't align. That's not paranoia, that's discernment. And your discernment is your divine protection in a world full of deception. You don't just see people's actions, you feel their spirit. That's why you can't fake smiles or play along with what's false. It physically drains you. You were designed for truth, and truth is never sugar-coated. In fact, psychological research even backs this up. Studies on empathy and intuition show that certain individuals have heightened mirror neuron activity, meaning you can literally feel the energy and emotion of those around you. When you speak truth, you're not just communicating words. You're emitting a frequency that cuts through pretension. That's why your honesty feels magnetic to some and threatening to others. You challenge comfort zones. You disturb illusions. You expose manipulation, even unintentionally. That's your spiritual assignment, not to destroy, but to awaken. But here's the key. Don't shrink your light to keep others comfortable. That's spiritual self-sabotage. Light doesn't apologize for being bright. It just shines consistently until the eyes adjust. And that's what happens with truth. The same truth that offends someone today might save them tomorrow. The same person who avoids your presence now may later seek your wisdom when their false foundations crumble. So stay authentic. Keep speaking. Keep shining. You never know who's secretly being healed by the words others reject. Even Jesus said, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town." That means your truth might not be appreciated where you were planted, but it's still divine truth. Some people have to lose you before they realize you were the messenger they needed. So don't let rejection convince you to dim down. Your light is not arrogance. It's evidence of alignment. You are not too much, you are in tune. So keep carrying the truth boldly, chosen one. Keep being that unsettling, liberating presence. Because while the world may resist you at first, eventually they'll realize the light that once irritated their eyes was the very light they needed to find their way home. Point 6, miracles follow your energy. Wherever Jesus went, transformation happened. Not just in the physical sense, but in the very atmosphere. The blind saw, the lame walked, and the oppressed were freed. But even more than that, hearts softened, minds opened, and souls woke up. That's the kind of divine shift that happens when light walks into darkness. And chosen one, whether you realize it or not, that same current of divine energy moves through you. When you show up, things don't stay the same. You've probably noticed people feel calmer around you. Conversations go deeper, random arguments dissolve, and sometimes people start crying for no reason at all. It's not random. It's your presence. It's the vibration of your soul aligning with the frequency of heaven itself. You see, every chosen one carries a spiritual frequency that cannot be replicated. It's the mark of divine appointment. When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," he wasn't being poetic. Light shifts reality. Scientifically speaking, light carries energy, and energy changes matter. Spiritually speaking, your inner light carries divine energy, and divine energy changes people. So when you enter a room, your spirit starts clearing energetic debris, the unspoken pain, jealousy, fear, and tension hanging in the air. It's why some people suddenly feel peace, while others feel triggered. You're not just another person showing up. You're heaven's frequency, interrupting earthly chaos. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't even have to say a word. Just like Jesus healed without always touching or speaking, your energy field does the talking. Researchers in neuroscience have found that human electromagnetic fields can synchronize, meaning your calm, centered state literally helps regulate the nervous systems of those around you. So yes, that peace people feel when they sit near you. That's heaven backing your aura. That's divine flow working through you to remind others of who they really are beneath all the noise. Children of light. But here's what's fascinating. Chosen one, transformation doesn't always look peaceful. When Jesus walked into a temple, he flipped tables. When you show up, falsehoods crumble. People are forced to confront themselves, their masks, their intentions, their hidden wounds. That's also divine transformation. You awaken truth wherever you go, and truth shakes what's fake. Some people will run from it, others will be drawn to it, like moths to a flame. Either way, your presence activates movement. You are the storm before the calm, the breaker wave before healing settles in. When you walk in alignment, when your will matches God's, heaven backs every step. Doors open that logic can't explain. Protection surrounds you that danger can't penetrate. Blessings flow that envy can't block. You are not moving alone. Heaven moves with you. Just as Jesus said, "The Father who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone." That same divine partnership follows you. So keep walking, chosen one. Not everyone will understand the shifts you bring, but trust this. Every step you take in truth transforms the ground beneath you. Point 7. You've already been resurrected spiritually. The biggest proof that you carry divine power isn't in how loud you pray or how perfect your life looks. It's in the quiet, unexplainable fact that you've died many times. And yet here you are. Not physical deaths, no, but spiritual ones. Those invisible deaths that break most people for good. You've died to your old self, to illusions that once defined you, and to people who couldn't recognize your worth even when your soul was shining right in front of them. Every time the world tried to bury you, something holy inside you refused to stay down. That's not luck. That's resurrection energy. See, chosen one, resurrection isn't just a story told in sacred texts. It's the eternal pattern of divine transformation written into your soul. Ancient spiritual traditions call it ego death. Psychology calls it rebirth through trauma. And scripture calls it being born again. What they all point to is this: divine beings are not destroyed by endings. They are refined by them. You've walked through seasons that were designed to strip you bare, not to punish you, but to reveal what's eternal within you. Each death was a shedding of outdated beliefs, toxic attachments, and false identities. It's what mystics throughout time described as the dark night of the soul, that sacred breaking where the false self dissolves, so the true self, your God-infused essence, can rise. And when you rose, you didn't just come back. You came back glowing. You carried new wisdom, deeper empathy, and a quieter kind of strength that only those who've touched both heaven and hell understand. You've been misunderstood because resurrection energy is intimidating. People sense that you've been to places they can't imagine and returned with eyes that see differently. That's divine power, not flashy, not loud, but steady and unshakable. The kind of power that whispers, "You can't destroy what God built from light." So when life knocks you down again, and it will, remember this: you're not being punished, you're being renewed. Every ending in your life has only proven one thing: that the Spirit of God doesn't just visit you in moments of prayer, it lives in you. You are walking, breathing evidence that resurrection is real. Chosen. 1. This message is a reminder of who you truly are. You're not here to mimic Jesus' every move. You're here to awaken the same divine frequency that lived within him. Science tells us everything vibrates at a frequency, and spiritually, you are tuned to the highest one, love. You're a soul clothed in flesh, chosen to radiate divine light in dark times. Every rejection has been protection. Every delay has been divine preparation. When others misjudge you, smile, because they're unknowingly standing beside a vessel of Christ consciousness, a living channel of divine energy. You are proof that God still breathes through humanity, a continuation of eternal love in motion. Stay aware, spirit warrior. The heavens recognize your light, even when the world doesn't. Keep walking in that truth and shine boldly, for the Christ within you is your eternal source of power and peace.